You ever meet someone who feels like they're watching life through thick glass? They're sitting right next to you, laughing at your jokes, nodding along with the conversation. But there's something behind their eyes that says, I'm here, but I'm not here. Like they're running on a different operating system than everyone else. And when chaos hits, when everyone else is falling apart, they're suddenly the calmest person in the room. Here's what nobody tells you about people who've been through too much. Their brains don't just carry scars, they carry superpowers. But those superpowers are running on survival software that hasn't been updated in years. Today, we're diving into the psychology of people whose nervous systems have been forged in fire. And here's the twist that changes everything. What you think makes you broken might actually be proof that your brain is working perfectly. Stay with me, because if you see yourself in this, you're about to understand why you feel like an alien among people who still believe life comes with guarantees. First thing you'll notice, they're weirdly calm when everything's falling apart. Car accident? They're directing traffic and calling ambulances while everyone else is frozen. Family crisis? They're making the hard decisions while everyone else is having a breakdown. Work emergency? They're 3 steps ahead with solutions. But ask them to relax on a quiet Sunday? Panic. What should we do today? I don't know. Something feels off. Why is it so quiet? Psychologists call this hypervigilance, but it's more like having a smoke detector that never turns off. Your brain became a threat-scanning supercomputer. It's constantly running background programs. Who's upset? What did go wrong? What's the escape route? You develop what researchers call an enhanced threat detection system. You can read microexpressions like a FBI profiler. You notice a shift in someone's voice tone 3 words in. You feel the energy change in a room before anyone else even realizes something's wrong. This isn't paranoia. It's pattern recognition that literally kept you alive. But here's the catch. Your nervous system is stuck in surveillance mode. Even when you're safe, your brain is running disaster scenarios. It's like having a computer with 47 tabs open, and 43 of them are, what if everything goes wrong? So in chaos, you finally feel normal. Your system goes, oh, good, something I recognize. Let's handle this. In peace, your brain doesn't trust it. This is too quiet. Something's coming. I need to be ready. You're not dramatic for struggling with calm. Your body just speaks fluent storm and is still learning the language of sunshine. Second pattern, they have this weird relationship with their own emotions. It's like their feelings got put on a rationing system. Someone rear-ends their car, barely a reaction. Friend cancels plans last minute, they're fine. But then a stranger holds the door open and they almost cry. A song lyric hits different and they're wrecked for an hour. This is what psychologists call emotional numbing, but it's not actually numbness. Think of your emotions like the electrical system in a house. When too much voltage hits the system, trauma, chronic stress, repeated loss, the breaker flips to prevent the whole house from burning down. Your brain didn't break your emotions. It put them on a budget. We can't afford to feel everything at full volume anymore. We need to ration this energy. The problem is, the breaker doesn't select which emotions to cut. It dims the whole system. So when you numb the pain, you also numb the joy. You end up living in this gray zone where nothing hurts too much, but nothing tastes quite right either. And here's the part that messes with people. You can be simultaneously numb and hypersensitive. You'll stay stone-faced through a funeral but fall apart at a commercial about dogs finding homes. You're not broken. Your emotional thermostat just got recalibrated for survival, not for living. Third thing, they're allergic to asking for help, not because they're proud, because their trust muscle cramped up years ago and never relaxed. You became a one-person army. You handle your mental breakdowns alone. You move apartments alone. You solve your problems, celebrate your wins, and process your losses in private. People call you so independent and so strong. But psychologists might call this defensive self-reliance. At some point, your brain learned, every time I hand someone the reins, they crash the car. So you became your own everything, your own therapist, your own emergency contact, your own cheerleader. You built yourself into a fortress. And fortresses are incredibly safe. but they're also incredibly lonely. You're starving for connection while keeping the drawbridge up. Here's the twisted part. You want someone to see the weight you're carrying without you having to explain it. You want someone to look at the cracks in your armor and say, "I got you." But the moment someone actually tries to get close, the moment they start asking real questions, you bolt. It's not that you don't want love. It's that love feels like a high-stakes gamble where the house always wins. And you're out of chips. But it gets weirder. You know that friend who always knows exactly what to say, who can walk into a room and instantly read the vibe, who seems to understand people on this almost psychic level. That's often someone who survived chaos by becoming a master translator of human behavior. You learned to predict the weather in your house, so you wouldn't get caught in the storm. You became fluent in microexpressions, voice tones, and energy shifts. You can tell someone's angry before they know they're angry. You track the emotional trajectory of everyone around you like air traffic control. This makes you incredibly empathetic, incredibly perceptive, and incredibly exhausted because you're running a supercomputer in the background of your mind 24/7, calculating everyone else's emotional state. No wonder you're tired. You're doing a full-time job nobody's paying you for. Here's the counterintuitive truth that changes everything. The people who look strongest are often the ones most overdue for a breakdown, not because they're weak, because they've been the designated stable one for so long that their identity fused with one sentence. "I can handle it." They're the friend everyone vents to, the family member who manages the crisis, the coworker who picks up the slack. But what happens when they can't handle it? They don't know who they are. Psychologists call this role engulfment. Your whole self gets swallowed by being the fixer, the rock, the unbreakable one. So when you finally break, it doesn't feel like healing. It feels like identity death. But here's the reframe. Sometimes your breakdown is just your nervous system finally saying, "I'm done playing the character you needed to survive." Your sensitivity isn't failure. It's your system trying to feel what it had to outrun for years. Let me give you some balance here, because this isn't all doom and gloom. People who've been through too much often develop genuine superpowers. That threat detection system, it makes you an incredible leader in crisis situations. That emotional rationing, it gives you steady presence when others are spiraling. That hyperindependence, it builds unshakable competence. That ability to read people, it creates profound empathy and connection. Research on post-traumatic growth shows that hardship can produce stronger values, deeper resilience, and clearer purpose. But here's what's important. You didn't need to be hurt to become wise. You just happen to be wise. And you happen to be hurt. Both can be true. You're allowed to acknowledge your growth without romanticizing your pain. You're allowed to be grateful for your strength without being grateful for what broke you. So where does this leave you? Here's the reframe that changes everything. You're not damaged goods. You're a sophisticated survival machine running outdated software. Your brain did exactly what it needed to do to keep you here. Those 47 browser tabs of worry, that's advanced threat assessment. That emotional rationing system, that's energy conservation under extreme conditions. That fortress of independence, that's self-preservation mastery. That ability to read people, that's pattern recognition at genius level. The work now isn't to hate these parts of yourself. It's to update the software. To let your nervous system know. The war is over. We can run different programs now. You don't need fixing. You need convincing. You need to convince your brain, slowly and gently, that quiet Tuesdays are just quiet Tuesdays, not ambushes. That the hand reaching out is offering help, not holding a weapon. That peace isn't the calm before the storm. Sometimes it's just peace. You survived the chaos. That was the hard part. Now you get to learn how to survive the calm. And trust me, the calm is worth it. I want to hear from you. Which of these patterns hit you the hardest? The hyper-independence, the emotional rationing, the inability to trust peace, or something else entirely? Drop it in the comments and tell me. When did you first realize your brain was running on survival mode? If this helped you understand yourself a little better, hit subscribe because we're building a community of people who get it. And next time, We're talking about why your brain unconsciously tests people to see if they're safe, and how that can accidentally push away the very connection you're craving.